Welcome, everybody, to episode 17 of Meet with Cheese Metaverse Interviews. I'm your host, LaDrop with Cheese, coming to you from the Metaverse. Today, I have an amazing guest with a badass mission to help humanity. He is the founder of K.Group DAO. He was formerly the guy behind the guy, but now this is his first podcast interview. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Jermaine Anugwom.
What's going on, Cheese? Man, those shades. I have to, I've been on Amazon looking for them and I can't find them.
I'll send you the link afterwards because
please do.
People always ask me, where do you get those? And I'm like, Amazon, $35. That's
really?
It. And you have an app on your phone. So I always have the drop of cheese going, but you can program any words you want. Like, K.Group DAO launches tomorrow,
Oh, definitely. Send me that link when we're done for sure.
Hell yeah. Initially, I'm like, I don't really want anyone else wearing them because people know me by them. But now I'm like, why doesn't everyone get them?
Right.
Want them. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me on Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to our fellow Americans out there who are trying not to labor today.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we kind of just started randomly talking on LinkedIn, and then I took a look at what your DAO is doing, and you're launching tomorrow on Juicebox, and you're creating affordable housing. It's amazing. This is the power of the DAO and the new way of operating a business. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, and how you got to where you are now in the metaverse?
Absolutely. So I started in, this whole field of real estate and construction back in 2010. It wasn't a traditional way of starting. My fight manager, if we want to go backstory, he was a part of a family office, and they were based out of New York, and he was part of the Texas leg down here as far as investments with multifamilies and things like that. So once my fight career ended, I wanted to pursue something else, and he was like, basically, hey, come work with me, and I knew nothing about construction. I knew nothing about real estate, and he kind of just threw me into the fire. Like, my very first project was like a 44 unit apartment complex, full renovation, you know what I mean? And He was like, all right, have at it, and luckily, I'm a fast learner. I started learning about subcontractors and contracting with the crew we already had, vendors. It was just a huge learning process. Loans, banks, cap rates. I mean, it was insane. So I worked with them for about, I started out as just basically learning the ropes, and then they made me director of operations. So director of operations, I was basically going out, assessing properties, doing due diligence on them, seeing if they were in our buy box. Once that was established and we purchased the property, and then the construction team would come in. I started liking more of the construction side, so after that, I got more involved with construction, and I like being with the guys and the vendors and, project managing and things like that. So after a couple of years, they made me vice president of construction. That's literally how fast these things were moving, and how well I was turning over a lot of the properties with, high return on investments, over 20%. From there, once I finished that, then I started my own construction group and started working with a lot of the previous investors, and even that family, the original family office, started working with everyone else on their side, just basically branching out and doing a lot of work for others. So I've worked with some of the biggest hedge funds and venture capitalists and family offices in the real estate, like mostly affordable housing, multifamily. We didn't really do a lot of single family until towards like the end. So that's just a little bit of background as we scale into what's going on right now. So we started with, I had a concept, right, where a lot of these places that we were purchasing were heavily capital intensive, millions and millions of dollars. And a lot of smaller contractors that I would see, they just couldn't afford it. They wanted to get into the real estate industry. They wanted to really started earning cash flow and things like that. So I always thought of ways and innovative ways to really get people into this without it being so, capital heavy. And so that's where I came up with the concept of the shared living, and basically taking a single family home and converting it into a shared living space for the same amount of money you would for a normal fix and flip of a single family home, right? And so I've done so many of those and perfected and perfected and perfected it, and finally now bringing it into the DAO space as we speak right now.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are an actual construction professional who has built out a lot of properties, perfected them, and now you're bringing this affordable housing in the form of a DAO, and that's
Absolutely.
K.Group DAO. So
Yeah.
everyone tomorrow, today's Labor Day. Tomorrow, K.Group DAO is launching on Juicebox, so you got to check them out.
Absolutely.
So the first property, we kind of talked briefly earlier about it, but you said it's a super nice property and you're turning it into multiple bedrooms for affordable housing. So give us a little bit of an idea of what that looks like or sounds like.
Yeah. So, when you assess properties like this, it's a very unique way of assessing a single family home. Most people, they'll look at the neighborhood, they'll look at the comps in the area and things like that, and base what they're going to spend on the property or what they're going to purchase it for based on those comps and based on what they can actually get for it when they sell it, meaning flipping, right? Or even in the sense of being in a really good neighborhood for you to cash flow, right? If you wanted to rent it out to a single family, this kind of goes beyond that, right? So when I purchased this property, it was built in like the 50s, and it was like 2,200, 2,300 square feet. It was $145,000, right?
Mhm.
And it was an okay neighborhood, non-HOA, non-deed restriction or anything like that. And so basically what happens is when I go into a property or I assess a property, I look at the square footage, of course, has to be a certain square footage. But then I look at the layout of it, right? And I'm walking in there and I'm like, how many rooms can I put in here? And it's not just, you know, big bathrooms and things like that. We really truly look at the layout of it. And, so there's some different standards that we kind of stick to, right? So basically, like if let's give you an example. If it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, I know for every bathroom, I can do 4 rooms. That's code. So I automatically know if it's a 3-2, then the most I can do is an 8. So I know the minimum is an 8, I could put 8 rooms in the home. And so if I wanted to add another 4 rooms, then I would add another bathroom. And so we're trying to stick to those codes and those requirements when it comes to shared space and co-living and things like that. So there is a code, per city where we have to stick to that. So with this one, it already had 2 bathrooms. It was huge. And another aspect is we added another bathroom to it to make it 12, right? And so it's not really just putting walls up. You have to run electrical. Depending on how the size of the home, you have to run a bigger HVAC system. So we'll put like a 5-ton AC unit instead of your standard 3-ton or 3.5-ton for a home. The water heater is an 80-gallon instead of a typical 40-gallon for a home. The panel box is upgraded to a 200 amp as opposed to 100 amp for a standard home. So we're really retrofitting a lot of things to take in the capacity of housing between 8 to 12 people. It's not just putting up walls and throwing people inside. You really have to take into consideration, the wear and tear of the house and how it's going to be built out there where there's really no maintenance or no major issues when everyone moves in, because they're already dealing with a lot, right? So you want them to move in a very smooth, capacity, where there's no issues, everyone's happy, and they're just bringing their sales in their suitcases and they're starting to live, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Uh, I'm really glad that you're doing this for people that can have, a nice place and a co-shared living quarters that are up to date and to code by a professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we really strip these things down to the bone. Like this isn't like, well, we find a home and we just add walls. We usually strip it all the way down to the studs. Because a lot of plumbing and electrical has to be updated as well. So this is an extensive renovation. And the crazy part about it is we actually turn these homes in about 8 weeks. So it takes us about 2 months.
Oh,
Um, and that's the main reason why we're able to do it so fast is because we have our own crews. There's really no subcontracting when it comes to these homes. I have a crew of about 40 guys right now. And, everything from carpenters to painters to floor guys, electricians, plumbers, licensed electricians, licensed plumbers. I think the only thing I don't have is a roofer. And I usually subcontract that out with some local companies that I've always used. Even licensed HVAC, they're all on salary, so that's how I'm able to actually, turn these homes, between 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, I say.
yeah, that's really fast for such a big renovation and
Yeah,
upgrade.
absolutely.
So where's the location of the first home with this DAO?
So the first one is located in Houston, Texas, and it's in a, you know, I hate to say it, but a lot of these areas, they're nice, but these are areas where there's no HOA, right? But they're still really nice neighborhoods. You want to find homes, in the area that are along bus routes because not everyone has a car. Also near, major retail stores like Walmart's or Kroger's, or I don't know if they have Walmart. No, no, no. I don't know if they have like Kroger's in Chicago, but we have like Kroger's and HEB is like our big thing out here as far as like grocery stores and things like that. So you want to make sure that they're near the areas like that alongside the bus routes. We're actually trying to work with Uber as well to have some discounts and rates for Uber Pool. So I've even had some tenants that are at the house currently, and they Uber Pool into the city, like downtown. If they work downtown or something like that, they really have built like a nice community there where everyone gets along and things like that. So yeah.
Wow, that is really cool. Yeah, you kind of thought of everything, it's
After
formula.
doing so many, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so how do we get involved? Like how we just purchase or don't like donate, or how does it work to get into the DAO starting tomorrow?
Yeah, so basically, when it comes to DAO and when it comes to our DAO, we wanted the community to become involved, not just contribute, right? Like, so if you wanted to contribute and become involved, we have a link on our site, and we also have one on our Twitter where it'll take you directly to our juice box link, and you can contribute ETH there. When you contribute 1 ETH, you get, I want to say, 750 KDAO tokens. And these tokens you're going to use for governments, you're going to use to vote. And the voting takes place on snapshot.org. So when we present proposals there, we'll present the proposals there. We'll do a snapshot at the time of the proposal, whichever time that is. And it gives people enough time to vote on different proposals that we're going to send out. And to give an example, like a proposal would be, hey, we're about to buy home XYZ. Here's the pro forma. This is what it's going to earn every single month. This is how many people are actually going to stay at the property. This is the software that we're using to manage it. Just every aspect that it takes when you're actually purchasing a home. Like, this is how much it costs. This is how much, if we're going to use leverage or we're going to buy it cash. Here's the construction budget. So everything's going to be laid out in the proposal. It's going to be on a G Drive, Excel spreadsheets, so that everyone that's involved can actually look through it and even give suggestions about the properties that we purchase. But the differences between us and traditional markets is usually, if someone is purchasing a single family home and one family lives there, and you're buying it on leverage, meaning that you're paying like a monthly interest rate or mortgage on it. After it's said and done, you'll probably make between $750 to $1,000 of actual net profit. With us, it's 3 to 5 times that amount. The rental rates are between $650 and $800 per room. So if we're having a minimum of 8 rooms per house, the most you'll make is $6,400 gross, but you'll have higher utility bills and things like that, up to $1,500. A mortgage is say $2,000. So, you're walking away with more so $3,000 net. Each home, netting $3,000 minimum. Now, if you're talking 8 rooms, then it gets up into, the $7,000 to $9,000 range of actual net profit that each home will be earning. So, but getting back to your question about being able to contribute, like once you contribute, you receive your tokens, you can vote on proposals, but also, joining the Discord and being actually involved in the community, having suggestions on what we should do with funds and things like that is another way that people can get involved as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Is there like a minimum investment or an ideal amount you're looking for anyone who's looking to be a part of this DAO?
Not really. There's no minimum. I believe on Juicebox, I want to say $10, $10 or $20 worth of ETH, but no, there's no minimum there. Anyone can be involved, and whether, even whether you're contributing actual ETH or not, you still can join our Discord and see what we're all about. Now, of course, if you don't own tokens, you can't vote, but you can, look at our suggestions, look at the proposals, and really give your insight, because real estate is universal, whether it's here in the United States or abroad. Everyone knows someone that knows a guy that knows a guy, you know what I mean? And even giving suggestions on rules and priorities of tenants that are actually staying at the property, right? Like you can give an example of, it's almost like this. It's like if you were helping a friend, like where you stay now, if you were helping a friend and that friend was like, hey, I'm kind of down on my luck right now. Can I stay with you? Can I live with you? And the good person that you are, you're like, sure, absolutely. But I'm sure in your mind, there are some rules that person must abide by, that in order to stay at your property and everyone to be safe and comfortable and things like that, right? Like they move in and they're messy and they're drinking or they're bringing people over or anything like that, I'm sure you would have an issue. Yeah, you want to help, but you would have an issue with something like that. So people know people. So people can always give suggestions, especially when you're housing 8 to 12 people in one house together and you want everything to go smoothly. You want to screen tenants enough where you don't have as many problems, right? And so, no drugs. If someone is drinking, they can drink, but, it's not being belligerently drunk inside a home or anything like that. There's a quiet time starting at a certain time, you know what I mean, for people that actually have to get up super early or, just want to come home and relax for a little bit. Of course, no parties, just different rules. And I'm sure everyone has suggestions, and you don't have to be a real estate guru. You just can, it's common thinking. You're like, hey, I don't think the people should be able to do this, or even give suggestions that are positive. Hey, I think you should have this once a week, just for the tenants that are there. That it's unlimited of what can happen, when you have such a huge community such as a DAO that are really implementing proposals and protocols for these assets.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I really love the mission. So as far as growth goes, you have the one property that's attached to the DAO, which is part of a trust, right? The property.
Correct.
Okay. How
Yeah.
are you looking to grow? You know, I mean, do you have some sort of a idea for the next quarter or year that you're looking to acquire so many properties?
Yeah. So basically, when a house is purchased, we're registered in Wyoming, right? So in Wyoming, it's really one of the only states that allows you an actual DAO to become an LLC, an entity, to where we can purchase assets, right? So when you purchase an asset, you have the title information. On title is not Jermaine Anugwom, but is K.Group DAO LLC. And when you're filing the paperwork for Wyoming, they actually ask you the smart contract address that's controlling the DAO or controlling the fund, and you have to send that information to them. Once that happens, once the asset is purchased, and then we start renovating and start getting people in there that's actually paying rent, that and it also depends, right? That particular asset is then placed into a real estate trust. And that real estate trust is also controlled by the DAO. So God forbid, if anything ever happens to me, you know, it takes that personal liability away from me. And now it's with the DAO. Anyone that is contribute, that's actually having voting rights, they actually control that real estate trust. So it's not me that would own, you know, X amount of houses. It's the DAO. And I think that's always been an issue with real estate and, you know, digital assets or people contributing, is who actually owns the real estate? Who actually, is it under their name or things like that, right? So we're working with a group called Doula, and Doula takes care of all corporate taxes, filings, things like that. But we're also working with a real estate trust attorney as well to make sure the wording is correct, that the wording is right when it comes to putting the actual asset inside of it and who's actually in control of it. So it's some really cool things that we have going on when it comes to that. Yeah. But yeah, to answer your original question, we plan on purchasing 10 homes before the year is over with, depending on how many funds we raise. Our first raise is we're aiming for 500 ETH, and we're running the fund for 30 days. And then after that, we'll run a second round of funding starting, I believe, in October or mid-October, and we're raising another 500 ETH. With that 1,000 ETH, we're able to purchase 10 homes, which minimum we'd be able to house 80 low-income tenants at minimum. And so we're working with a couple of investment groups as far as like mortgages and interest rates if we decide to buy the house on leverage. If we decide to purchase the homes on leverage, then we can actually buy even more homes as opposed to buying them outright cash, right? So we're still, you know, housing prices are going up. We're still in an area of Texas where you can purchase a home that's big enough to house 8 people and do the renovations at a great cost for under, you know, $160,000. You know, which is really good in our area, you know what I mean? Or in the United States alone, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a lot of homes to be renovating. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so if we're contributors to
Mhm.
this DAO, can we stay in the properties?
So if you can, that's a good question. That's a good question. Yes. Yes. The answer to that is yes. But the real question I would say is, would we accept KDAO tokens, right, and in place of US dollar for you to stay at the property if you're a contributor, right? Like, is that an option? Or since you hold an NFT in KDAO, would you be able to stay at the property for free? These are things, and that's the cool thing about a DAO, right? Is these are things that can be voted on. These are proposals that members can actually bring. And it's like, hey, look, I have X amount of number of KDAO tokens. I'm in Houston, you know, for the week, and I see that you have 2 rooms open or a room open. I'd like to stay there for a week. Or, you know, I'm a holder and I want to stay there for a month. You know, can we bring up sort of a constitution or a type of rule set where actual members can reside in some of these properties, and it's unlimited. And so to answer is yes, but the real answer is how, right? Like how, and those are some great ideas that I believe will come up once we're done raising funds and we actually have real assets, additional assets that we own. So yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, that's like that.
I like that question. Yeah.
We decide how we want to proceed with all these different ideas and ways to make a really good community of living, peaceful, happy living. We all want that. So is it just you are you the sole founder of this DAO, or do you have a team with you?
Yeah. So right now, as far as the sole founder, I have a team. So it's me as the founder, but I also have core contributors that are making content, that are community managers for the Discord and for the Twitter. As far as and it's cool because there's a digital side and then there's a real world asset side, right? And so on the real world asset side, there are a number of realtors. There's the construction crew, those guys that are actually going to be doing the renovations. There's the realtors that are actually going out and finding the properties according to our standards. There's accountants for the construction side. There'll be accountants for the DAO side, city managers. So when we expand to other cities outside of Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, different parts of Louisiana, Oklahoma, maybe Chicago, there'll be city managers as well that'll be maintaining the properties, right? Pure asset management, client retention or marketing, getting tenants in there, any issue that goes on with the assets. So yeah, so right now it's a small team, but it will grow extremely fast once we start expanding to other cities. So
yeah, it sounds like you're managing a really big organization there.
Yeah, I definitely can't do it by myself. There's no way.
Good job to you, man. It seems like you know exactly what's going on and how it all comes together, which is amazing. And we need people like you creating DAOs and leading us into the future for the betterment of humanity, man. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's to me, when we raise funds, when we have the funds and we raise the funds, that's the first step. The real hard part comes when you actually start buying the assets and you start renovating and you're going through those trials and tribulations of renovation. But also when you're getting the tenants in, you're marketing, you're going to local churches, community centers, online platforms, and you're getting these tenants in and you start managing them and you start maintaining the property. To me, that's the real hard part. But besides that, then keeping the community happy inside the DAO, right? So being 100% visible, having full visibility, because, a lot of DAOs, and I get it, are autonomous, so people aren't really showing their faces and things like that. I think in our particular case, there has to be accountability, full accountability, because these are real world assets. And so there needs to be a face that people can see and can research and can, look me up and check my references and things like that, because I'm going to be the one that is actually going out there and obtaining these properties, right? And especially if we're not trading, but if we're buying homes on leverage, then somebody needs a great credit score. You know what I mean? And great experience where you can get low interest rates and things like that. So I've had so much experience, and I've been in this game for so long and have the connections that part would be easy, but there needs to be someone at the forefront. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with all that, as far as, let's say that I contribute, I saw that, or you were talking about that there's going to be net profit monthly from these homes. How does that work with, paying the contributors? is that something that's in place already in the governance, or are you guys going to vote on that down the road?
Yeah, so everything has to be voted on, right? So I'm glad you asked that question. You know, when I was first starting to think about this DAO and how I would pay contributors, or not I, but how the DAO would pay contributors, because yes, these assets will produce monthly profits, month over month over month over month. This isn't, you know, whether something goes up or down or it's super volatile. These are consistent rents that will be coming in, right? And so right now we have it to where the monthly rents that are coming in from these assets are deposited back into the treasury on Juicebox. And those profits sit there. And as far as the contributors, the DAO has to vote on how those funds are being distributed. Am I personally going to be manually paying every single contributor ETH every single month? No, that's impossible, right? So the DAO will vote on how those funds are distributed to contributors, or even if they are distributed to contributors, are they going back to the property? Are people getting monthly payouts? So if the proposal comes about, it says, hey, we like to get monthly payouts. Okay, good, let's vote on it. And the vote passes. It's like, okay, so we have to, and there's tools available, I'm sure, to where every address, depending on what they contribute and the size of their token holdings and things like that, are going to be weighed on how much ETH is going back into that wallet every single month. And that's the cool thing about the Juicebox platform, is because you can add those wallets to funding rounds, right? And those wallets stay in there every single month. So if you're telling your platform, hey, this has been voted on, this is the amount of ETH that is going to be distributed out to these wallets for the contributors, you just put those wallets into the Juicebox and you press send, and then they all go out automatically. And that's the cool thing about it. So yes, funds can be distributed to contributors, but that has to be voted on. I can't promise, and that's why I put in a lot of the wording, we can't promise passive income. We can't promise that we're going to be distributing ETH to contributors every single month, because then you start playing with the whole security thing and dividends and things like that. So we wanted to keep it very simple. The funds that come in are put back into the treasury. The DAO votes on how those funds are being distributed, and we just leave it at that. And if they say, hey, we want monthly payouts, and then that's what it is, that the DAO decides that. I'm not the one all be all and say, oh no, we're not doing it. No, the DAO decides everything. And so if everyone gets together and say that's what they want, and that's what it's going to be. so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can probably imagine something like that will happen sooner than later, especially if you
yeah.
But exciting that not only is it a good cause, but you can actually potentially monetize if the DAO approves passive monies coming in.
Oh,
so.
absolutely. That was the biggest thing, is because these homes are earning 3 to 5 times what a traditional return on investment would yield you on a single family home. So where is all that money going? You know what I mean? And it's going back into the treasury, and we're going to figure it out. We'll figure out how it's being distributed. So that's how I want the community to be involved. You have a voice, right? You have a vote. So use it. If you feel like it goes to another project, or we do another funding round or anything like that, then present the proposal and we'll vote on it. So yeah, that's I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. It takes the stress. It's totally different from your standard corporation or investment, because really the people are deciding. And it's a lot of people, especially the ones contributing.
Yeah, the people with the actual vested interest that determine involvement. Yes, it's the way of the future, man. I love decentralized everything.
Yeah, because look, if you let's say you contribute $200,000 to an investment fund, right? Or a seed round, or to a startup company, right?
Mhm.
You don't have any say on how that money is used, especially if it's part of a major group, right? You're just putting in your 200,000 XYZ. I saw a real estate company that raised $400 million. And I think I posted on Twitter. They raised $400 million and they shut down in a year. So they raised it in 2021.
Wow.
And now they're shutting down. And I, and I was talking to a friend of mine, I said, how do you blow 400 million in a year? Seriously, like how do you blow 400 million? MC Hammer couldn't even do that. Like, how do you blow 400 million in a year? And then you're like, oh, sorry, I told you it was high risk, and then move on to the next startup. It's insane. It's insane. I still can't wrap my mind around that. And I've seen it firsthand. I don't know why I'm surprised. I've seen it firsthand with some major hedge funds and iBuyers. I've seen it firsthand that, they raise a lot of seed money and they're putting everyone in place. They're spending large amounts on salary. They're giving all these guys black cards, and they're taking their teams out for steak and drinks and just every single week. And they're like, yeah, we're supposed to spend the money. I think, and that's the notion in their head for a lot of these big courts. Yeah, we're supposed to spend the money. We have to. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. We don't, it's completely different. Yes, you're absolutely right.
That is just
right.
I had to do like in high school for one of our classes. They're like, okay, I want you to write down how you would spend $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And not one person in the class came up with enough stuff to add up to that. Because even at that time, if we're buying 100 Lamborghinis, that's still
it's still not enough, nowhere near enough.
So it's wild that a company can just blow through that kind of money and then just say, sorry, oops.
Absolutely.
DAOs are the future.
They are.
So do you collect NFTs as well?
I do. I love NFTs. So I have 4 Robotos. Pablo and that whole community, I started collecting like Robotos, I want to say like October, November of 2021. And so I've been following those guys. He even, I think they just came out with the Roboto Palos, or it's like an online where you can like upload your Roboto and like go and do different tasks and earn different things like that. It's been really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those play to earn games where you stake your NFTs and you're just collecting coins. There's so many of them nowadays and they're all getting more fun to play because like a year ago, you're like, ooh, blockchain games are all kind of, you don't really have fun playing them, but you're earning, and now they're all becoming fun. So it's an exciting time to be part of this world. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Absolutely.
Tell us, what's the web address and how can we follow you on Twitter and join your Discord?
Sure. So the web address is K.Group DAO.finance. And you'll be able to go check out the project and see the housing solutions that we have. You actually get a chance to explore the live house that we currently have right now where there's tenants living. But just to get a chance to check out what we're doing and the solutions that we're implementing, and also contributing to the DAO as well. Also, our Twitter is twitter.com/K.Group DAO. And so you can go in there and follow us, check out the latest that's going on with that. Our Discord, we'll have links. We have links in the Discord as well, so you can come join the community. And what else? I think, what am I missing? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah.
You got the website, you got your Twitter and the Discord. Yeah,
absolutely. All the fun stuff.
Most importantly, everyone, you got to go to Juice Box tomorrow and
Yes, yes.
going, contribute to the DAO, be part of something real special that's going to be huge, that's run by an actual professional. So I'm
I
excited for
appreciate
it.
it.
I'm going to try and contribute as much as I can tomorrow.
Awesome.
So
We love to have you. You got to come check out the Discord. You come check out Discord, and if you guys have a Discord, we'll join it as well. We're trying to partner and link up with so many people in the space, and we'd love to have you.
yeah, I'll definitely be joining. And to meet a lot of people later this year, go down to Miami. It's a big week, November 28th.
Oh, you already know it's on.
Yeah.
We've already talked about it. We're going to Miami.
Yes, we'll meet everyone down there. So Jermaine,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I'm really excited for your launch tomorrow, man. Best of luck to you.
I appreciate you as well, man. Thank you so much.